What's good, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? JDaisy here with the JDaisy Gaming Channel, and we're back, baby. I am proud to announce that we are back after the 3 months hiatus of the incredibly busy holiday season. I hope everyone had a good Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, all the holidays you could have celebrated in the past 3 months. It's been a crazy one on this end. I am very grateful that you guys were very understanding and took the fact that I had to take some time off. I couldn't keep up with both work and this at the same time. I'm glad you guys understood. Sorry videos weren't being pumped out, but I feel like my reasoning was justification, whatever the word needs to be. But we're back now, and we're just going to get right into it. This is the 1 year anniversary video. This is officially the 1 year I have been doing YouTube when this video comes out, and I will say thanks a lot, guys. It's been a fun year, and I'm glad we put out quite a few videos. I think like 100 and some, 120 maybe. It's quite a lot, and I am proud that the community is slowly growing, slowly but surely. And this video is just going to be something a little fun, a little different, a little outside the box for me. And I think it'll be fun. It's more of a discussion-based video. I'm going to put the theme of the video is what are some good games. What I did is I just sat down and wrote the first 50 games that popped into my head. Well, actually, I wrote a lot of games and then stopped at 50 because I couldn't do all of them. And then I just came up with a evaluation criteria. I have the category graphics, sound design, the influence it had. So like they'll be more for like games from my past, so they don't just get destroyed on like the graphic quality is obviously going to be lower on Battlefront 2 than Battlefield 1. So that's kind of my way of balancing that back out. The replayability of it, the customization. So if you can customize the game to tell your story, or even like your closing, all the way down to you have no customization, this is what you have. The time I spent playing it, I felt, mod capability. That's another one that you either got those points or you didn't. Map size, the pull in, and that's kind of one of those. This has a really interesting idea. This is I want to see where this goes kind of idea. And then obviously single player, multiplayer, and each one of those was on a scale of 1 to 10. Other than the influence and mod capability, that was just a straight 5. So out of the 50 games we took, I think there's 32. Yeah, there's 32 actual numbers, slots, I guess, but there's 50 games total. Some honorable mentions that didn't get thrown onto the list just because we had to stop it at somewhere. We got the Legend of Korra game, Red Faction Guerrilla, Lego Star Wars, Metal Gear 5, Kerbal Space Program, Factorio, Watch Dogs 2, Titanfall 2, Tropico 5, RimWorld, and a whole lot others. Those are just the last ones. Like I said, I just sat down and started writing games, and here we are. I did limit it to one per franchise, so like Assassin's Creed, for instance, I just wrote whatever Assassin's Creed was first and didn't count any of the others, or Halo, whatever one came to first when I thought of it. These aren't saying these are the best games, but there is something to be said that when I think video games and these ones are the ones that pop up, that's probably a good sign that they're pretty good. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Slot 32, we have Ghost Recon and Stronghold 3. That's Ghost Recon, the original. That was I played that on, was it the original Xbox? I think it was the original Xbox, was it? It was on. And this was a first-person shooter with squad-based capability. Squad was kind of the big thing of it. And this was kind of my first remembrance of playing a squad-based shooter. Or even a first-person shooter, really. And your basic first-person shooter, other than you could switch from character to character and you could customize their guns to an extent. This is obviously in the early 2000s, so it's not the best graphical quality. Along with Stronghold 3, its competitor at the 32 slot. Stronghold 3 was your kind of my first introductions to a base builder. This is a castle building. You build a castle, you defend the castle. That's about it. There was no real like political or anything. Both were good games. Don't get me. All these games on the list are good. I'm just saying these are what these are. Yeah, both it's kind of surprising to me that they fell this far, that they're the bottom of the list, but I suppose someone has to be. Next, we have Halo Wars and Singularity at number 31. Now this is kind of interesting that Halo Wars was the first Halo game to come to my mind, not Halo 3 or Halo Reach. Halo Wars, a strategy, the only strategy one that I was super excited to hear is getting a redo, is getting Halo Wars 2. I can't wait for that one to come out. It's a basic strategy game with Halo over it. I played on the Xbox 360, and I think that's still all it's on. So it was kind of one of the only strategy games on the Xbox 360, ironically. It felt like a waste. But it was really fun because my favorite thing would be to play and then get these turrets that just sat down somewhere and had a boost in shooting capabilities, and that's what I would do, is I would just put those turrets everywhere and just rule that way. It was supposed to be more of a fast-paced one, but... And then Singularity, this is kind of a weirder game. This is a first-person shooter that talks about time, and it's a Soviet Union cracks like how to reverse and forward time, and it's just a really interesting concept and really worth a play. It's a little bit older now, but it's definitely worth a play just for the concept alone. So on to the next one. So coming in at number 30, we have Farm Simulator 17 and Pokemon Blue. Yeah, those are very different games. Farm Simulator 17, obviously, if you saw the video, it's another farm simulator with a few more things added to it. It's about the same as every other farm simulator, but I enjoy farming simulators. They're good for a quick, easy play and something that you really don't take that seriously. And as someone that grew up on the farm and could never afford farmland, it's a good little alternative. And Pokemon Blue, I mean, come on, it was either Pokemon Red or Blue, and Blue came to mind because I remember I played that way more. I had Pokemon Red on the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, and then I had Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy. Was it Advance or Color? It was the one that flipped up, it flipped open. It was powder. Mine was powder blue, and I played that. Oh my God! Every family occasion and driving in the car with the streetlights going by so you could actually see. Because if you hit the power button to show the screen, your battery would die quicker, and there's no car chargers back then. So that definitely gets the nostalgia value. And if it's Pokemon, I mean, everyone had to have played Pokemon, right? If you're a gamer and you didn't play a single Pokemon game in your life, can you really consider yourself one? And coming in at 29, this is the first game that has no competition for this slot. It's Overwatch. This is a game that I will be getting a video sometime in the next year. Bought it during the sale, bought it before even the sales started. And man, I think everyone can say the same thing about Overwatch. You don't expect a whole lot, but then you get a whole lot out of it. I really do. It's just a fun little first-person shooter. It's so weird because there's nothing inherently that pulls you into it. There's not a lot of customization. The graphics are fairly basic, but just something about it keeps pulling you back in. Maybe it's just the random cast of characters that you can play, each one different and each one having its own, kind of capabilities and abilities. The fact that the community is so vibrant, and that they keep developing these characters. Like over the Christmas, they had like a Christmas comic that came out that kind of confirmed some characters. Tracer was bisexual or lesbian. I thought that was really cool. And just kind of each one, before the game even came out, they had all these little short videos about each character, and these are just characters in the video game that there's no story, there's nothing else. It's just kind of through the community and through Blizzard themselves, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, that game made the list. I played a little bit of it. It will be getting a review this year, sometime before the end of the year, I promise. And we're back into the competition. We have Army of Two, Devil's Cartel, and Sleeping Dogs. Both Xbox 360 games, both fairly older, and both meh. They were not really the greatest games, but they were games. Army of Two was fun because the gun customization was very much there, and I remember playing it with my best friend, who we would play video games all the time. And that was the game we could play co-op together. I remember playing it split screen. That was freaking awesome. It was kind of one of my first, playing with another person experiences. And then Sleeping Dogs was just kind of you were playing as, I think it was a Yakuza. A member of the Yakuza that actually was a cop trying to bring down the Yakuza. And those lines getting blurred and stuff. And the driving sucked in that game. But man, the rest of it, or at least was worth playing just for... it came out at a time where it was kind of the only game out there because you know, Mafia 2 you had beat 8 or 10 times. But another game that doesn't have to fight for its spot. This is 27 with Star Wars Force Unleashed. And the first one came to mind first, so it made the list. Another Xbox 360 game. You know, it's one of the few Star Wars games, ironically, like that you run around with a lightsaber and cut people in half. And the graphics are still fairly good. I played it not too long ago, probably within the last year, and the graphics still hold up, surprisingly. Its concept was fairly alright. All that stuff is probably not even canon anymore, so that really sucks. But it was a fun game. I highly recommend it for any Star Wars fan. Should check it out, you know, and then get the second one. The second one's not as good, but it's alright. It completes the story, but like any sequel, most people don't like it as good as the first one. We might as well get some controversy going. The first one is Mass Effect 3 and Assassin's Creed Rogue. Both were the first ones to come to mind. Mass Effect 3 isn't really all that surprising because I never played any of the other Mass Effects. Mass Effect 3 was the only one I played, and I'm looking forward to Andromeda because of it. It really was kind of a lackluster Mass Effect, even that's coming from someone that's never played a Mass Effect. But it was a fun little space sim, you know. You're very confused if you've never played any of the other Mass Effects, but it was fun. And Assassin's Creed Rogue. Why that one? I suppose the ship sailing was about the same as all the other ones, but at that point people were getting tired of that because you know, Black Flag was that kind of their big, like, we can sail around on ships, and they just kept going with it. But I really enjoyed Rogue. Rogue was a different approach to the Assassin's Creed title. You played as a Templar, not an assassin. I thought that was very blurred the lines, and you got to go to the Antarctic and sail around with icebergs. That was my favorite part. I love Antarctica, and just being able to sail a sailing ship, another one of my dreams, in a dream place. If they would have thrown in a blimp and, like, I don't know, just Kate Upton walking around, it would have been a dream come true. Now we come to kind of the bread and butter of the channel, Rainbow Siege 6. I mean, what more can I say about this game? You know, this is kind of the only modern day first-person shooter, other than Overwatch, that I really have put this many hours in. It's got a decent amount of customization. They keep adding on to it. They announced that they're going to be another year of Season Pass. I know I didn't do a review for the Red Crow DLC that came out. I know I'm slacking. It's gonna come, maybe, hopefully. I hope. But the game's really good. If you like first-person shooters, you like high quality, you like team-based stuff. This game is definitely team-based. Yeah. If you don't play with people you're willing to talk to, you're gonna have a bad day. Two more very different games, Naval Action and Shadow of Mordor. I don't think you could get any more different, really, off the top of my head. Naval Action is another one of those games that is just a dream I really wanted. You sail around the Caribbean in a tall sailing ship. One of my dreams. And if you're like me, you put in a lot of hours in it, and in a slight exploit, not like you're making millions, but it's a slight exploit that you don't have to battle. Because this is a game where when you buy your ship, that's your ship, and if you lose it, that ship's gone. That money that you spent on it, gone. The money you put on the cannons, gone. So I don't go into battle with most of my ships. I'm a trader. I trade things in that game. It is gorgeous. It's been out for a while, surprisingly. But it's so much fun. I jump into it at least once a month just to sail around and remember how good it looks. And Shadow of Mordor, the Nemesis system, mwah, it is great. I love it. I think I'm surprised more games haven't gone for it. Pretty much what it does is you're running around killing orcs from Lord of the Rings, or Uruk-hai, and actually it wouldn't be Uruk-hai, they'd be orcs. Never mind, cut that sentence out. But they, each one is different, and they remember if you fought them, and they get stronger, and you have to fight them harder, and it's just such a good game. It's a little better with the DLCs that I got through one of the sales. I don't remember which one, but it definitely adds a little more variety to it, which I think is fun. But it's a little disappointing that they had to be in a DLC. But you know, you take what you can get. So we have two vastly different open world games. We have Batman Arkham City and Saints Row 3. Batman Arkham City was kind of after the success of Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City took this kind of linear game with a little dash of open world and blew blew it out into this open world game that I don't think anyone really expected to be as amazing as it was. I remember when that game came out, it just blew people out of the water that an open world game could have this much depth, this much, you know, detail, and be this great, and just really pave the foundation for the, you know, Origins and what else? There's like 6 of them now, aren't there? There's Origins, and then there's the newest one, Arkham Knight. Wasn't there a 3rd one? I don't remember. There's been it paved the way for like that series that unfortunately has kind of came to a stop now. But hopefully, I hope that someday have another Batman game come out. But this one was definitely by far the best, just because of no one expected it to be the best. You know, after Arkham Asylum, everyone was like, okay, that was really good. That was a good Batman game, but we should be done, right? And then this just came out and blew everyone out of the water. Saints Row 3, on the other hand, was a completely different game than the current ruling open world game at the time, which was Grand Theft Auto. Saints Row, you know, the first one and the second one weren't really open world to the same extent as this one, and by that I mean this one took that open world concept and kind of gave it a little bit of flair, gave it a little bit of fun, and but it didn't go too far down the fun hole. Unlike its predecessors like Get Out of Hell and Saints Row 4, which just went too far. They went too far. Saints Row 3 had an appropriate amount of stuff to do in the open world, and let's have fun with this. And I really think that both these are great open world games if you're into open world and want something with a huge map and a lot of stuff to do. Those games that I had on Xbox 360, and when I switched to PC I lost, and I've been staring at it for a very, very long time because it's just a fun game. Prototype 2, it's just a fun little game, and it was one of them games I played a lot when I was on Xbox 360, and it's pretty much you're a guy that gets infected with this virus that turns you into the creature that can morph, and you run around an open world city and fight a blacklist government. That's pretty much the game, but it's from my childhood and I really enjoy it. 21, if this wasn't in your childhood, I'm sorry. I don't know what you were doing as a child. I hope Africa was nice, or, you know, someplace at the bottom of the ocean, or the moon. Because if you didn't play Star Wars Battlefront 2 as a child, I'm sorry. It's one of the greatest childhood games. The nostalgia filter is quite heavy on it, as you can already tell, but it's still good. When you can log into the PC version and people are still playing it, and they're playing it with modded servers of 100 people on Hoth running around, it's still good. I'm not even gonna talk that much about it because it's just a great game. I'm sorry you didn't get to experience it as a child. I truly am. Hey, look, 2 games we talked about on the channel. Banished and Mafia 3. Mafia 3 failed many times to live stream. Banished actually has a review. Once again, very different games. We've got the same score on our weird, screwed up list system. Banished, city builder, really basic. Medieval, and the most difficult of the city builders I've ever played. It's not fun watching everyone die of starvation and winter hits and everyone just dies. Not fun. Not fun. And Mafia 3, I really loved the game because they didn't pull that many punches. There's definitely some times where they pulled some punches, but they really didn't. The storytelling of it is great. It gets a little repetitive when you're doing all the missions, but it's beautiful. It definitely has some bugs. Still has some bugs, and they're working it out. Some of the stuff they added in, like DLCs, or not even DLCs, like updates, like a month or 2 after, should have been in the base game. I was really confused when they're like, oh, now you can change your outfit, and now you can change your, now there's car racing. Why that wasn't an update, and that wasn't in the original game launch. That's one of them things that you think would be normal. But once again, we all know how the video game industry works with, you know, the developers having one deadline and you know, everyone else having a different deadline. That's a topic for another video. Still love it, still good, really worth a play. Brand new too. Next on the discussion block, we have Just Cause 3 and Max Payne 3. Both these are really great games, and Max Payne 3 is good because it's a great storytelling game. I think I've played through it at least 3 times, 2 for the story and 1 for all the collectibles, because it was back on Xbox 360, so you had to replay stuff. It is just a great story. I never played any of the other Max Paynes, I will admit that. But this one, just for the storytelling and this, I guess you could call it cinematography of it, it was a really great game. An alright third-person shooter, nothing so crazy. Just Cause 3, on the other hand, was the fighting was crap. The shooting was crap. But the explosions and all the different things you could do with the game is really what sold it. It was also one of the few games that, could push a high-level PC to its max. And with the DLCs that I eventually got, it really does round out to be one of the best games you'll ever play. Just if you like an open world map with a bunch of stuff to do, this is definitely the game you want to look into. And also, if you just like blowing shit up. So once again, we keep having these vastly different games getting the almost exact same score. Well, exact same score if they're on the same slot. At 18, it's Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 and Payday 2. Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 was pretty much what Planet Coaster is, except back in the day and with water parks and animals, which I hope Planet Coaster eventually gets. But Rollercoaster 3 was this different from its the ones that it was taking over from. With Rollercoaster 1 and 2 were just kind of, fun games, but they weren't really 3D, and they weren't really to the same depth as Rollercoaster 3 is. And Rollercoaster 3, you can ride all the rides, you can be like a person walking around. There's just so much to do in it that it's really one of the great management and building games. Even to today's standards, I think it's really right up there. If its engine didn't become obsolete, I think it would be great. And then Payday 2, you guys know how much I love Payday 2. It's it's the second most game I put the most hours into, according to Steam. I don't even know what level. I think I'm at like 19 prestige now. 20 being the max. So it's definitely great if you just want to rob a bank or a casino or customize guns. It's right up there. With the new expansion that allows you to customize your home base, it really makes me happy to see a game from 2013 continuing to build and continuing to grow, and not just being a one and done kind of game. I think that's really lost on a lot of major makers nowadays, and it's good to see something like this continuing to grow and continue to be expanding. And next, at number 17, Subnautica and Planetary Annihilation Titans. Subnautica is, to me, a base-building survival game in the ocean. No really other game goes that way with it. Normally they drop you like a forest or something. This drops you in the ocean with creatures that want to do nothing but eat your face and tells you, okay, here, survive. And you have to find like airfish, and you have to turn them into air or water, and you're living out of the life pod because your ship blew up. And I believe it's still in early access, and they keep adding on to it, adding more lore and stuff to the game, trying to make it more well-rounded. That's good for them for doing that, for not just having it be a one-and-done game. But to me, it's still just a little survival game. I haven't really played it all that much since some of the newer updates. It's still a little unstable, so that kind of sucks, but it's still a good game worth looking into. And on the other hand, we have Planetary Annihilation's Titans, which is a base building, or a RTS base building conquer game that is kind of on a scale that is unprecedented. Not only are you trying to take over a planet, you're trying to take over the whole galaxy by building units in like a Command and Conquer style way. And in this game you can take and throw a asteroid at a planet and destroy it that way, or you can get a Titan and drop a atomic bomb to the core of the planet, or just go old school and launch nukes at another planet. It is one of the funner real-time strategy games I've ever played. The longest game I've had is like 6 hours, where it was just me and the AIs, and we were all just so dug in that it was just impossible to get to them. And it's fun to just do that, to be playing with such an advanced, not even advanced AI, it's a very basic AI, but the game just is balanced so well that even if you're playing against an AI, it works really well. It's definitely fun, and it's definitely fun to see, an entire planet shooting nuclear warheads at one planet. It looks like a porcupine just exploding. Next, at 16, KOTOR, or Knights of the Old Republic. One of the most fun games from my childhood. Really, one of the best RPGs in my opinion. No game really holds a candle to it, even Knights of the Old Republic 2, which is meh, and Knights of the Old Republic Online, which is an online game, so therefore it automatically gets thrown out of my categories because I don't want to pay for online things. Anywho, Knights of the Old Republic 1 was a RPG set in the Star Wars universe with turn-based combat, which was amazing. I went back and played an entire gameplay of it when I worked at my old job, and it still holds up. The graphics there definitely are starting to show their age, and voice acting shows their age, but it's still great. Still has a story that is well-rounded and well fleshed out with a great surprise twist that no one really sees coming. It also lets you be a freaking Jedi and run around lightning people, and lets you change people's minds by using Jedi mind tricks, and it's just a fun game. I wish the end game was a little better, like you go back through and play, but you know, we all have wishes about games from our childhood. Definitely worth the play, even by today's standards. It's one of my favorite games, and it makes me happy to know that it still holds up past the nostalgia filter. Look, it's another new game that will be getting a review on this channel. It's Dolores. This is a game that came out, I think, within the last year, and I just picked up, and I have become a huge fan of it. I'm currently playing it with my roommate, along with just on my own. I have two separate games going, one modded, not one modded. And it is just a great RTS across a huge scale that's unimaginable. The only downfall to it is there's so much going on, it's hard to keep track. So you're hitting the pause button quite a bit. But I won't go too far into depth because it'll be getting a review on my channel. But this is a great game. If you're looking for a game to get that's new that you want a review later of this Dolores, go after it and watch the review when it comes out. I promise it'll be good. It's kind of a game that was surprising to me that it made it into my head within the top 50. Sims 4. I don't really play that much of it, but I do when I want to. That's a weird sentence to say, but I have never sat down and been like, I'm going to play The Sims 4 all day today. But sometimes I'll be like, what's it like to be married to Emma Watson? And, you know, you pick up Sims, you download somebody's creation of that, you get a lot, you mod in yourself a lot of money, you build a big house, and there you go. I know the other Sims games were like regarded as some of the best like house building games, and this one has always felt kind of lackluster in that area to me, but it's also lackluster in the interactions thing. It's just a fun game to, you know, watch. It's like a social experiment game. And I did break down and buy the City Living DLC during like the Christmas winter sale, which added apartments and stuff. And I haven't done it yet. It's coming. I want to do like a Sims 4 of my current living situation with my current apartment. I haven't quite done it yet. You know, and I might even I've debated giving the City Living DLC its own little review. If I run out of ideas, we might do that just a day of Sims 4, because it is a fun little game. It feels like it's missing something, and I feel like a lot of people have that. It's just missing something. Also, it's you know, controlled by the conglomerate of EA, so it just is microtransactioned out the asshole. Like the City Living DLC was $20, and that was on sale. I think I added up once how much all the DLCs would cost to get you, and it was like $170 for DLCs. Yeah, that's way too much. I'm okay buying DLCs, but not 100, not like 4 times as much as I paid for your original game. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do it. There's other websites I can get them cheaper. I'm sorry. Some fun games that I've sunk way too many hours into: Cities Skylines and Command & Conquer Generals 0 Hour. City Skyline was made in what, 2013, 2014? I think 2014. What is it now? 2017. Oh my god, I feel old. Anywho, it's a newer game. It's a city building game. It's like, hey, remember SimCity? How the SimCity came out and it really sucked? Hey, we did a good version of it. It is great. It sinks hours into. Has one of my favorite DLCs of all time, which is Snowfall and Natural Disasters, which completely changed the game. Highly recommend getting. If I wasn't taking my 3-month hiatus like I did, those would have gotten a review almost immediately as I got them, because I had footage for it, but through the course of time, that kind of got pushed back. And, you know, if somebody wants, I'll do a review on those, because they are great little DLCs. No game has DLCs that change a game so dramatically as City Skyline. But keep it so you can play without them and be perfectly fine. But they add a level that just you don't even expect until they're there. Command & Conquer General 0 was really my first RTS. I think I've probably said that once today already, but it was really my first RTS, and I played at least 300 hours of it. Just scrimmage mode. I don't even think I completed the campaign of it, which it did have a campaign, but just scrimmage after scrimmage after scrimmage after scrimmage. Trying to make smiley faces with the giant death laser of doom, or building a wall of turrets. It was just a fun game for young me to learn the basics of an RTS and how you can make an army out of angry mobs that actually takes down the entire US government, which, today's inaugural day, so that might just be the reality. Oh, sad face. Really hurts me that this game made it right to my mind in the first 10 seconds, and it's GTA 5. Great game. I cannot say how amazing this game is. It really, really is good. From a single player aspect, it is one of the greatest stories and greatest visual stories and greatest details that have come out in the past 2 years. And it's brought to you by Rockstar, so you don't expect anything less. If they would have delivered a crap thing, it would have really hurt them. But it is a great game. The reason I am sad is because I vowed never to play it again after they made a dramatic switch with their online multiplayer, we could say, stance or ideas or how they go about it. And I still stick by that. I have never picked up GTA Online ever since. I think it was like the not CEO maybe, or where you could get the yacht, is where I said I'm done with this bullshit. It is ridiculous. And I won't dive into it because I get on a rant about it. But pretty much they just said, hey, if you want to play our game anymore, you need to either give us money or spend all your time playing our game to get our fake money. And I just can't stand by that stance, and it really saddens me that Rockstar did that. It makes me very nervous for the future, but that's my own personal stance, and I've already done a video on that, so I won't dive into it. But yeah, it made the list. It's number 12. I can't deny how great a single person game it is, and how fun it is to mod in the things from the multiplayer, because they're not worth $20,000 in real life. Make a switch towards positive games like Prison Architect. I have no qualms with Prison Architect, other than it took forever to get out of beta. And when it came out of beta, everyone was like, oh, we thought you guys were done. And they're like, oh, no, we were done now. It's like, you were done a long time ago. Anyway, Prison Architect, great game. You become a warden, you build a prison, you make sure no one escapes, and you try to keep riots down, and you see how far you can go. Or if you're like some of my friends, you build a prison, you sell the prison, you build a prison, you sell the prison, you build a prison, you sell the prison, and then you have money to actually build a decent prison. It's just a fun management and building game with mod capabilities, and more mods are coming out, and it's just a great game. It's not even expensive. It's like 20 bucks, I bet, on Steam. Not looking that up, but I bet it's probably one of the better bang for buck games if you're into building and management games. Guaranteed. 2 different games. Again, we keep doing this. Different games. Oh well. At number 10, we have Ark, Survival Evolved. We'll call it the full name. And Witcher 3. Yeah, that's right. Two very different games. Ark is a great multiplayer game. Single player is a little lackluster, like if you're playing single player, but if you play with other people, it is a great game. Base building, tame dinosaurs, ride around dinosaurs. They keep updating and adding more maps, and I bought Scorched Earth, and that will get a review probably 3 years after it's been out, at the way my schedule works. But it is a great game. Highly suggest playing with other people. Playing alone gets a little lonely and gets a little boring. It's a little grindy, but still good. Still good. And with mod capabilities, it really keeps adding to the game. And then you have Witcher 3, which is, I think, has won almost any award it could win. And me praising it will not do it more. I mean, look, we did a 30 episode on just the DLC. Just the DLC we did a 30 episode series on. Let alone the actual game, and the fact that I don't even know all the little secrets it has, and that there's a whole other DLC I never bought. I thought about it, just about pulled the trigger during the winter sale, but knew I didn't have the kind of time to devote to it. Great voice acting, great visual, everything about it is just great. It's lacking on, mod capability, but that's not surprising. It has no multiplayer, which is not surprising. And if you don't know the lore of the game, it's a little hard to follow sometimes, but it's very easily played without any of it, because I did it. And if I can do it, God, you should be able to do it. Tycoon 2. Sorry, I forget how great Zoo Tycoon is, and it's very hard to find and play nowadays because the engine it was built on is pretty much outdated, and you have to run a computer on Windows 95, and it's not fun. But the nostalgia filter is very strong on this game. Um, it you build a zoo and you put animals in it, and if you get bored, you put a wall in front of the door and you let the tigers out and it eats people. Zoo Tycoon 2, what it did different than Zoo Tycoon is it made it 3D, and you could zoom in on your people and be a person and be like one of the workers and run around and pick up dinosaur poop. Not dinosaurs. Did they have dinosaurs? Yeah, they had dinosaurs. And if you're like me, you could mod it. It was my first experience in modding. I modded in like muskoxes, and that's where my love of muskoxes came from. Ah, good times. But it's a game from my childhood. It had to make the list. It's my, you know, when you ask me good games, Zoo Tycoon comes to mind right next to the ones that we're about to be getting into, because these are the real meat and potatoes of what immediately comes to mind. So let's dive right into the top 8. Number 8, we have Age of Mythology and Fallout 4. Yeah, years and different genres all together. Age of Mythology, RTS, around Greek mythology, ironically, and one of the only age of whatever I really played. I dabbled in Age 3 and stuff, but Age of Mythology was where it was at for me as a kid. Didn't sink as many hours as Command and Conquer, but it's one of my first. These two were competing for the first RTS thing, and Age of Mythology was great. They released a DLC last year. A game that was made in like 1994, or like it's probably like 2000, but it got a DLC. So Chad was a lone programmer still working, and he's like finally got his DLC out, and they put it, and it adds Chinese mythology. And I played it, and it's still a great game, still holds up. But it's just funny that they put out a DLC like 7 years after it's done. Then you have Fallout 4. Yeah, heavy hitter. Fallout 4 is it always felt like it was lacking something for me. I love Fallout 4, I really do. When I bought my brother an Xbox for Christmas, I had to get it. I bought him one game, and I bought him Fallout 4 because I was like, this will give you 60 hours of gameplay without even like doing anything. But it's always felt like it's missing something, and I don't know what that is. I think it's just the story's not the same. You know, there's no real big plot twist. Anyone with a brain could have put 2 and 2 together. And it just feels like it's missing something. And the fact that the modding community is, you know, still kind of being suppressed with the council community and stuff, it's very weird. It's not as good as, you know, some of the other Bethesda games, but it's definitely one of the best open world games that has come out in the past 2 years. There's no one else that can hold a candle to Bethesda when they come out with an open world game, other than maybe Rockstar. But even then, sometimes you got to give it to Bethesda, but they got competition. Dead Space 3. First Dead Space that comes to mind when you ask me about Dead Space. Huge Dead Space fan. I'm staring at my desk marker right now. All praise the marker and its holy trinity. The Dead Space 3 was the last one that came out, and really was completely different than the other ones. The first one was a horror that made you, you know, shit your pants. And then the second one was a horror that made you shit your pants, run out of the room screaming, and jump off your 3rd floor balcony to get away from it. And then not Fallout 3, Dead Space 3 was a walk in the park that gave you guns that you could customize and blow shit up. Wasn't as scary, it was brighter lit, and it was on a snowy planet, which, if you know me, I love snow. And Isaac Clarke in a big fur park, it was great. But it did add multiplayer. You could play with 2 people, and the person that played as Carver, the other person, had a completely different experience than you playing as Isaac. Dead Space 3 really answered a lot of questions, and if you're me, you read a lot of books. You read all the Dead Space books and all the graphic novels, and you read through all the art books, and it really summed up things in a nice little bow. But then if you play the DLC, it really takes that bow and unravels it and goes, ha! You'll never know the answers to these. Live with your life and your what ifs. Sorry, don't trust the moon. Minecraft. Yep, Minecraft had to make the list. Who thinks of video games and doesn't think Minecraft? Your grandma thinks of Minecraft when she thinks of video games. She goes, Nintendo, Super Mario, Minecraft. That's her knowledge of video games. So, of course, it comes to mind when I say video games. Everyone knows what Minecraft is. If you don't know what Minecraft is, how are you on my channel? All we talk about here are video games and a dabble of movies and a dabble of my life. That 80% Minecraft is just, you know, it is video games. So I don't know how you're doing this without knowing what Minecraft is, and you might want to reevaluate the rock you live under. And here's a game that I have sunk the most hours in, currently 365 hours. And that's nothing compared to some of the other people I've seen. Space Engineers. Absolutely great building game. It's great. It is just, I can't praise this game enough. Mainly because they finally added planets, and that was a year ago. Everyone said, hey, it'd be really cool if you had planets. We have asteroids. And they said, okay, and they did it, and they keep adding to it. I haven't played it as much in the past year, and I jumped in the other day to just see how it's going, you know, for this video, to see how life is on the Space Engineers front. Oh my god, is it completely different than I remember playing. I bought this game when it was early access Steam Greenlight for like 10 bucks. And now it is a full-fledged game, all with completely different mechanics. It is amazing to see how far that game has come in a very short time. Also has a very strong modding community that does things that I can't even comprehend how some of these mods are made or how they function or anything. But it's just great. If you want a game to either A, just build spaceships, like I did until they added planets, or B, build secret bases into the earth and defeat spiders and exploding dogs. It has both of those, and it's multiplayer capable. And it's modding, and it's great, and I highly recommend it. Just be prepared that, you know, it's still a work in progress after so many years, so that's a little weird, but that's also good because that means they're still fixing all these bugs that keep popping up, and they did just throw it out into the world and say, here's bugs, also they attack your face, so be careful. If you were to just ask me flat out, what's your favorite game of all time? Here, Red Dead Redemption. Don't even think about it. Red Dead Redemption. This was the game that made me buy an Xbox 360. Before that, my family, dirt poor as we were, I begged and begged and begged and gave my parents all my money I had saved from, you know, the ways you get money as a little child. Not that, lemonade stands and begging, and your grandpa gives you $5 to go get candy, and you pocket the $5 and you just take the candy. Anywho, we saved that money up, and we got an Xbox so I could play Red Dead Revolver. So my passion for console gaming at the time and this game is a direct correlation. Xbox, Red Dead Revolver. Xbox 360, Red Dead Redemption. Because I sold my DS and my Game Boy, all the games and everything, to get an Xbox 360, and my mom had to front me the money, which was a lot of money for a brand new game the day it came out to get Red Dead Redemption. So with the new one coming out, Red Dead 2, do I buy a Scorpio or a Slim is really what it comes down to, because we all know it's not going to come to console because it's Rockstar and they don't like PC, or it's not going to come to PC, it's only going to be on console more than likely. There's rumors, but we all know how Rockstar rumors go. If you don't know Red Dead Redemption, it's an amazing redemption story. Funny. No, it's an amazing story told by Rockstar in a Western, in a time when Westerns weren't video games. You didn't make a Western video game. And it has a level of detail that I think a lot of games don't even fathom. Because I followed the game so heavily when it came out. I know that they put those green suits with all the little white balls on horses, so they could map how the horses ran. And the fact that you got an achievement if you tied a lady up and put it on train tracks and watched her get run over by a train, you got an achievement that the symbol with a top hat and a little curly cute mustache. Just the level of what Rockstar does always amazes me, and this game will probably always be one of my favorites because of the fact that I followed it so closely, and it's the reason I got an Xbox 360. And I've played it 4 times over to 100% completion, and the Undead DLC was meh, it was alright. It had zombies you had to shoot in the head. That was crazy. Also, you get to go talk to Satan. Or is it God? You know, there's a discussion for the comments. It's the guy with the top hat, Satan, or God. I would love your opinion. That's this whole video. That's the question. You know, screw all the other things. Please don't screw all the other things. Let's have a discussion. I like talking about video games. Yay! Oh, I keep saying this game or this game, like, was my first experience in RTS. Well, this game was my first experience into turn-based games. Total War Empires was, in my opinion, still one of the best Total Wars. It had this level of depth and policy and economics that I don't think any of the other ones have even come close to. And it had tall ships that fought, and you could eventually become the Indians and take over the world as the, you know, Apache Indians. Okay, you could take over America. They never made it so you could take over the world. That would have been great. I always took over the world as Sweden. Sweden eventually ruled the world. It was a game made by the Total War Company, so, you know, the real heavy hitters in the turn-based community. And it was the, like, 18th century, so it was muskets and cannons, and you tried to take over the world, or you tried to be friends with everyone in the world, so you tried to take over the world. And it is great. It's still one of the better ones. If you want something that has, you know, both naval combat and you know, ground forces, I always tried to focus on naval combat because I like tall ships, and I was a bigger fan of that. That's definitely where it's at. I still highly recommend it. It's still one of the great turn-based games, you know, right up there with Civs. Another Bethesda open world game. At number 2, we have Skyrim. I guess you could say the Elder Scrolls, but you just say Skyrim in every way, everyone knows. The special edition came out, haven't even touched it. Skyrim is the one game I have vowed will always be on my hard drive. That is how much time I have sunk into it. Xbox 360 was all I would play. I played through the entire campaign without even knowing what I was doing, because I was a novice gamer at the time, so I didn't even know what was going on. I know I beat Alduin, and that entire save file, because I just kept going, I beat probably a solid like 70% of the game, you know, all the side quests and stuff, with the name Prisoner, because I didn't realize what was going on at the beginning, and I didn't change my name, so my name was Prisoner, all the letters, everything. And then you got the enhanced edition or whatever that came with all the DLCs, and you got to build a house, and you got kids. And then you switched to PC gaming for the full reason to mod Skyrim. Yeah, that's pretty much why I bought my first gaming laptop, was so I could mod Skyrim and get Frostfall. And the mods that followed were just amazing. And they're still coming out. They're switching over to the enhanced edition, or the special edition, whatever you want to call it. But it's still great. It's still for its age, it is still great. And I feel like when I said there wasn't a lot in Fallout, there felt like something was missing from Fallout 4. I think it's not Skyrim. I think that's what is missing. It's like, I know I'm playing a Bethesda game on the Bethesda engine, but it's not Skyrim. And I think that's what I meant when I said something was missing, because it's not Skyrim. Skyrim is great. It's so open world with so many things and so many side quests and so many mod capabilities. It's great. If you haven't played Skyrim, why? Unless you say, I only play first-person shooters. No, that doesn't work. You get an arrow and just play first person. Unless you say, I only play linear games. Well, yeah, if you only play linear games with no open world, gosh darn it, then Skyrim is not for you. But if you are a normal human being breathing air and drinking water, play Skyrim. And if you already have played Skyrim, good, thank God. We need more air breathing and water drinking people in this country and in this world. God damn it. That is the JDaisy stance for the next 10 seconds. Number 1, Star Wars Empire at War Corruption, or Forces at Corruption, sorry. Yeah, I did not see this coming. And I'm the one that made the gosh darn list and made the gosh darn numbering system for it. But this one took the number 1 slot. And you know, once I start thinking about it, it has a fully fleshed out campaign on both the non-Force Corruption Empire at War and the Force Corruption. I highly like the Force Corruption a lot better. It has a fully fleshed out single person campaign. You can play multiplayer. You can just play skirmish mode and be perfectly fine there, like I did most of the time. It has a plethora of ships and diversity. You not only are commanding an army, you're commanding the planets themselves and doing their own government, so it has a depth that not a lot of games have. You're both fighting on land and sea and in the air, in the space battles, so it has multitude of different areas and different combat styles. And then it also has full mod capability now, so you have things like Thrawn's Revenge and stuff that just completely change it. What other? It just, once you start thinking about it, is one of the best games I've ever played, but when you hear that, it's very strange. Oh, and by the way, it has a Death Star, and you can just blow up frickin' planets. That's frickin' amazing. apparently it's the #1 game. I, that's still debatable. This is, like I said, this number system I used for this was kind of convoluted and, you know, doesn't really hold that much merit. But you cannot. This game is really great. And yeah, that's the #1 game according to the JDaisy 1-year anniversary system of counting and rating game systems. Yeah, that's an acronym we're not going to try. But this video, the main purpose was to get you guys, let's have a discussion about video games. This is our 1-year anniversary. I couldn't have done this without you guys, so let's talk about it. Leave your comments down in the comment box or hit me up on social media if you want to talk to me directly. I'd love to hear, you know, I thought this game was higher. You know, I hated this game. How could you be crazy for liking Sims 4? You know, let's talk about it. Games are a media that is up for interpretation. Like any great art or any song, it is to the person's preference. These are, like I said, these are just the games that came to my mind when I said video games. Wrote the first 50 down, made a list. And on a more personal note, thank you guys for 1 year. It has been a great year. I'm glad to say that this hobby is, you know, taking a little steam, and it makes me very proud to say I'm here on YouTube. We're not making very much headway, but you know, that's alright. We're not here for the money, we're not here for the subs. I'm here to share my experiences and to talk with a wide array of people and keep an honest opinion going about this. You know, I try to be open with you guys and try to be as transparent about video games as possible, because we all know that there's a lot of fake stuff out there, and when it comes, especially when it comes to like video games, a lot of people get paid off and stuff like that to say this game's good. No one cares what I say. I got 60 people behind me. I'm making no money from this. I'm spending money on this. But I'll always tell you guys how I feel about a game. It's just in my nature to say, hey, this sucks or this is good. And when new information arises, like somebody says, hey, but did you know that in Hellborn you can do this? It goes, oh, wow, that actually does kind of change things. We can have a discussion about that. So leave a discussion down in the comment box, or just a happy 1 year. Thanks for the great year, guys. I can't wait to make it for another year. I've been thinking a lot about how to do a different exit. I've never liked my exit for the channel, or the intro for that matter. But we're gonna kind of paraphrase from both Boogie2988, one of my idols here on YouTube, and Red Green, a TV show that I used to watch as a child, and say, I love you all very much. We're all in this together. I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.